Okay, I've been teaching over 45 years and teaching English as a foreign language, and during that time I've gone through all sorts of methodologies. I mean, I started off myself as a language student with so-called grammar translation. By the time I came into teaching, we were into the structural approach, which is still very much a grammar-based approach. I then moved into something which was considered innovative, and that was the situational approach, by which you learned pattern dialogues, which was great as long as when you engaged in a pattern dialogue, the other person knew their part of the dialogue, which in real life just didn't happen. And then we moved into what was generally known as the communicative approach, which I have sometimes called the manipulative approach, because the principle was great, but in practice the activities that we had to do in class were so set up they weren't real, and so I didn't feel that really worked. And then we moved into task-based teaching, which was quite good. You set the students a task, and then instead of presenting and practicing and getting them to produce, they produced language, and then you fed it back to them and reorganised it, and that was, I felt, moving in the right direction. And then we came into the lexical approach, which recognised that we don't build up a language word by word, as if we were building a house brick by brick, but we actually learn prefabricated chunks, and we actually put those together, which is a much more rapid way and that's anyway how a native speaker does it. With all these approaches, though, none of them really were adequate in themselves. And I think the lightning moment was when I read that 80% of our brain cells, of the cells we use for learning, are actually dedicated to detecting pattern and making meaning. And what struck me with that was, we are, as human beings, we are designed to learn by perceiving pattern, and yet the standard approach to teaching anything, and specifically language teaching, is we dissect it and hand it out in tiny little chunks, and actually what we do is destroy the pattern. So, and then that brought together lots of things which I had learnt along the way, such as one size does not fit all, because every learner is an individual. That you have to start from where the individual is. You can't just impose learning on somebody, you've got to start from where they are. Basically, what I myself produced was a set of tools. Because I realised also, and I think this is fundamental, that learning a language is not an academic activity. It's not a school subject. Learning a language involves your whole body, it involves your whole mind, and it involves your emotions as well as your intellect. So I decided what I needed to produce was some tools to help people to learn, to help them to connect to what they already knew, to help them see the pattern. And that to me was radical, because it was just turning language teaching on its head. So that's where I came in. And the exciting thing when Judy contacted me and put me in touch with other people she was in touch with was I realised I was part of a group of systems thinkers. By systems thinking, I mean, I belong to a group which, not just of language teachers, but of business managers, all sorts of people who see everything connected to everything. And I've realised that my colleagues here today see things in that way, that we see language as system, as a set of interrelated systems. And this is what we have so much in common. And now, the exciting thing about this group of people is everybody, each one of us in their own way, has come up with a tool to help people to learn and to teach a certain aspect of English.